Hi there, guys. It's Mary McGloin again. I'm one of the co-creators of Tech Bettys, and I'm here with Susi Burke to discuss her life as a woman in tech. And I will let her introduce herself. If you want to say
Hi,
what you do.
sure. I'm Susi Burke, and I'm a strategic advisor for startup firms. I've actually done a lot of different roles in tech, from software engineer to director of products. So right now, I'm actually helping other people who are starting their own companies try to figure out the best way to move forward.
Awesome. What got you into tech in the first place?
So that's a story from a long time ago when I was in high school, and I was in this unified math class, which was very strange in that we did all the typical algebra, geometry, trig, all of that, but we also stuck these different like 6-week courses in. And this was a time where the PC didn't exist. So there were no PCs. It was a long time ago. And
Okay.
my school was outdated to start with. So we did a computer course in which we had we used cards. We actually did punch cards. But I thought it was fascinating that you could use these punch cards and code them. And what we ended up doing was like creating artwork on a dot matrix printer. But the fact that you could use math and logic in such a way that you could create something new was really exciting to me. So that was like my first experience in computers. And then I ended up majoring in that in college.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, great. Well, how has your experience been as a woman in a typically male-dominated field?
So there definitely have been challenges. I would say I came from a family of 5 brothers and me. So I was kind of used to that male dominated atmosphere since I grew up with it. But especially early on in my career, I would have a lot of questions asked of me, like, why should I hire you? You're just going to, get pregnant and leave. Or like a shock that here I was, a computer engineer, and I was a woman, a lot of kind of, little remarks here and there. But I was really lucky in that I fell into a group that started up a new company like 5 or 6 years into my career. And that company grew along with me. And so when I had challenges from being a woman, it was never from that company, because I was always kind of part of the culture and part of, what created that company. So there wasn't a lot of pushback in that company in terms of me being a woman and not respecting that, because I had kind of earned my place in that space. But it was definitely different when I went out to clients and did things. There was definitely some reaction to it. I just really never thought about it much and tried to just do the best thing I could do and show them that I could do it. And once that happened, generally I didn't get a lot of pushback. But it is intimidating to be the only sometimes.
Yeah, I can speak from experience. It's totally different to walk into. I'm curious if you've seen a difference since hashtag Me Too of indifferent, better, harder, or any.
I would say I've definitely seen a difference. We actually had discussions in my company, which we'd never had before. One of the things, unfortunately for me, that I recognized is it hadn't gotten better. So when I had first come out of school, it wasn't great. But because of the situation I found myself in, I didn't really see that it hadn't gotten better. And then I started looking around and talking to people, and I started mentoring a lot of young women. And I found that they were actually going into situations that were much worse than what I'd ever seen. So it kind of actually opened my eyes more. And it did make me kind of reflect on some experiences I'd had and say, oh yeah, that probably wasn't the greatest thing,
Yeah.
And I didn't realize all these other people were also having that same experience. Has it gotten better? I think there's more awareness. I don't know that it's gotten better yet. I think there's still, in some companies, and not all, there's still very much a bro culture, and there's still, some intimidation. There's situations where people are walking into computer classes and they're the only female in there. So I think that while there's recognition and while some companies have made a real good effort, there are some that are talking about it but not doing anything.
I can see that. I've definitely heard similar from other women. I'm curious what you would say to women and girls who are interested in getting into tech.
I would say I would encourage anybody to get into it. To me, it's always been one of those fields that's been really challenging because it constantly changes. So if you love to learn, if you love to constantly be challenged, figure out puzzles, it is an amazing place to be. And I think a lot of girls and women don't realize the good you can do with tech. Like, people look at tech and sometimes you think of, you see a lot of the bad that happens in tech. But a lot of the startups I'm working with, they're for-profit, for good companies. They're set up as B Corps, which is a way of saying we're not about just making money for our shareholders. We care about our employees and our community, and we're trying to do something good in the world. So I'm working with ed tech companies that are trying to make education better, and working with, a company that is trying to help take marketing dollars and have people think of them in a different way and actually think of them as doing good and giving them to causes and giving people choices of causes to pick. So there's so many things out there that are, doing good in the world that are tech, that I would encourage people to pursue it and think about that. Like, you don't have to work for the big 5 tech firms. There are so many other firms out there that are trying to make a difference and trying to do good if that's something that's important to you.
I'm curious, this wasn't on the script of what I was going to ask you, but given you've been in tech for so long, do you think that kind of B Corp do good is a newer element of tech now? Or
yeah, no, it's absolutely a newer element. And one of the things I do when I do go in and speak at, to middle schoolers or high schoolers, is I give them like a list of 5 or 6 apps, that are out there right now that are exactly that. They're trying to make a difference in the world. It might be as simple as, like, you do your homework on here, you give a bowl of rice to somebody, who needs it, like simple things like that. But there are a lot of examples of that, and a lot of them have been within the last 5 or 10 years. B Corp itself is a fairly new concept, even though there was starting to be that idea, but it's now formalized and it's something fairly easy for a company to incorporate as, so that they can put right in their incorporation statement that their plan is to do good in the world and this is how they're going to do good.
That's awesome.
And then they get kind of held to that every year. Every year they have to certify and say, this is what we did this year to be a good corporation,
That's really cool. So my last question is just, is there anything you want to say or plug that I didn't ask that you want people to know?
I would say the one thing that I've noticed, and this may be somewhat of because of the Me Too movement, but I think it's also because of technology, and that is there's so many organizations out there that help women and give you a community. And one of the things I'm doing right now, actually, just as a side, passion project, is I'm putting together all those resources into a website.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be reimaginingtech.org, but it's not up yet.
Okay.
But
okay.
there are so many resources out there, and there's so many organizations that you can find the one that works for you. And there are female only hackathons, or things of that nature that you can kind of get involved in a way with a group of women and feel more comfortable, and be able to take those moments that don't feel so great that you have and go and talk to someone about it and say, what can I do? There are tons of mentors, tons of peers that are out there, waiting to help and kind of help you navigate those kind of crazy waters of tech.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And I will let you know when it's up. I'm going to start posting them starting Wednesday of the ones I've done so far. And I appreciate your time. And yeah, it was nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you as well.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.